Good morning. Here's the news at 10. First, the highlights. Lagos State government engages religious leaders on sexual gender-based violence. Nigerian Union of Pensioners raises alarm over increasing deaths of members due to economic hardship. On the foreign scene, Israel launches special forces operation amid airstrikes in southern Gaza. And in sports, Super Eagles players expressed disappointment over 2023 AFCON final game loss to Cote d'Ivoire. Now the details. I am Dele Agadumo. Lagos State government, through the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, DSVA, has engaged about 200 religious leaders on SGBV, as well as the role of religious clerics in preventing and responding to the vicious menace. The Executive Secretary, DSVA, Titilala Vivo Adeniyi, explained that the invited participants were made to come through the laws in order to learn the intricacies of the document and to know that one of the major aims of the domestic violence law is to prevent domestic violence from happening, and that can be achieved through a restraining order granted by the court. A continuous call for sensitization by the government and stakeholders was made as the participants advocated for an end to domestic and sexual violence, and also enjoined victims and survivors to break the culture of silence and escalate the case to the appropriate quarters in order to access justice. In a bid to curb the incessant fire outbreaks in some markets in the state, a Lagos State government team drawn from the Ministry of Special Duties, Safety Commission and Fire and Rescue Service has embarked on an intense fire sensitization campaign to some markets to educate the traders on fire prevention and safety measures. Addressing the traders are the timber markets in Okobaba, Amu, in Mushi and Isolo. The Commissioner for Special Duties, Benga Oyeride, said the losses being recorded in the state is as a result of fire incidents informed the sensitization campaign. Oyeride said the campaign would be extended to other sectors in the state, saying there is a roadmap for the year which includes a stakeholders meeting across every sector of the grassroots. The director of the Lagos Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adeshaye, lamented the incessant fire outbreaks in the state, revealing that about 2,583 fire outbreaks were recorded in the state in 2023. While informing that 251 emergency calls were received in January alone, she attributed the rise in the number of cases of fire outbreaks primarily to negligence and delayed reporting. The director said the Lagos State government is intensifying its fire safety awareness campaign across all local government areas, focusing on key public spaces, including markets, hospitals, schools, and religious centers for enhanced outreach efforts. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has set up a 7-man committee to resolve the ongoing strike by the state branch of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN. A statement issued by his spokesperson, Olawale Rasheed, says the governor had also written a letter to the Attorney General of the Federation and the Chief Justice of Nigeria to assist in resolving the JUSUN crisis. Rasheed says the governor set up the committee with a direct mandate to get the dispute resolved, noting that his action is aimed at restoring normalcy and not interfering in the judicial arm of government. According to him, the new intervention by Governor Adeleke followed his previous efforts, which included the payment of withheld salaries of some judicial staffers, negotiations on wardrobe allowances, and the recent hosting of the national leadership of the Judicial Staff Union. The National Assembly says it will consider a legal framework for the creation of state police and for the gathering of local intelligence about the activities of bandits, kidnappers, and terrorists. The legislature also challenged the local government council authorities, traditional rulers, and community leaders to mobilize local vigilantes, hunters, and able-bodied youths in defense of their communities and territories. Leader of the Senate, Oyemi Bamidele, who stated this, revealed the resolve of the National Assembly to develop a legal framework and support local intelligence gathering to tame the tide of banditry, kidnapping and terrorism. He pleaded with critical stakeholders, traditional rulers, community leaders, vigilante groups and able-bodied youths to provide useful information to the state security services on the activities of criminal elements disrupting national peace. Now to the rest of the stories. The Nigerian Union of Pensioners, NUP, has raised alarm over the increasing deaths of members due to economic hardship in the country. Its president, Godwin Abumisi, says no fewer than 1,500 members have died in recent times due to economic hardship and high cost of living. Abumisi says many members across the country are earning as low as 500 naira and 1,000 naira as monthly pensions, especially in the southeast states. According to him, states that pay very low pension also include Borno, Niger 4,000 naira, Gombe 8,000 naira, Jigawa 12,000 naira, Katsina 7,000 naira, Kogi, Taraba 5,000 naira, Kwara 3,000 naira, among others. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu says its administration is revolutionizing agriculture to make Nigeria self-sufficient in food production and a net exporter of agricultural products. Tinubu stated this when he received a delegation from the global Tijaniya movement led by Khalifa Nas at the presidential villa in Abuja. The president outlined plans to bolster agricultural productivity through various initiatives, including expanding farmlands, providing low-interest loans to farmers, and investing in irrigation infrastructure. He noted that his administration would also support plans and efforts to give ease and succor to Hajj pilgrims, while emphasizing the importance of spiritual endeavors in nation building. Tinubu highlighted the need for collaboration between political and spiritual leaders to advance the nation's interests and promote unity among the people. Now to foreign news. The military government in Niger Republic has reiterated its ban on flights from Nigeria, insisting that flights emanating from the latter would not be allowed to land in the landlocked nation. This was contained in a notice to Airmen NOTAM issued by the country's Airspace Management Authority. It stated that the restriction does not affect commercial flights that fly over Nigerian airspace without landing there. In the NOTAM issued by Niger Republic, the Airspace Authority stated that the country's airspace is open to all national and international commercial flights, from ground to unlimited, except for Nigerian flights to or from Nigeria. Nigeria had issued a NOTAM reiterating the ban of flights from or to the Niger Republic, stating that the action was part of the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS resolutions. Israel has launched a special forces operation that freed 2 Israeli hostages in Rafah amid airstrikes, which local health officials said killed 37 people and wounded dozens in the southern Gaza city. A joint operation by the Israel Defense Force, IDF, Israel's Domestic Shin Bet Security Service, and the Special Police Unit in Rafah freed the hostages. Hamas kidnapped the 2 men from Kibbutz near Yitzhak on October 7. The Israeli military said the airstrike on Rafah coincided with a raid to allow its forces to be extracted. The airstrikes caused widespread panic in Rafah, as many people were asleep when the strikes started. Residents feared that Israel had begun its ground offensive into Rafah. Israeli planes, tanks and ships took part in the strikes, with 2 mosques and several houses being hit. In our sport, Nigeria's Super Eagles players have expressed disappointment over their defeat at the 2023 CAF African Cup of Nations final. Reacting to their loss in an ex-tweet, the Eagles said even though they feel disappointed, they will cherish the silver medal they won. The Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire last night won the 2023 CAF African Cup of Nations final. The Ivorians saw off the Super Eagles of Nigeria in a tense 2-1 defeat. Two strikes from Frank Kessie and Sebastian Haller cancelled Trust Ekon's opener. And that ends our news at 10. Just before we go, slow down at road junctions, intersections and pedestrian crossings. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, formerly Twitter, Lagos Traffic 961, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Watch us live on Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. On YouTube, subscribe and watch all our previous programs and news on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration trained 280 unemployed youths for global certification on solar farm construction technology for the supply of electricity in Nigeria? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State Government, through the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, DSVA, has engaged about 200 religious leaders on SGBV, as well as the role of religious clerics in preventing and responding to the vicious menace. The Nigerian Union of Pensioners, NUP, has raised alarm over the increasing deaths of members due to economic hardship in the country. We also told you that Israel has launched a special forces operation that freed 2 Israeli hostages in Rafah and made air strikes, which local health officials said killed 37 people and wounded dozens in the southern Gaza city. And in sport, Nigeria Super Eagles players have expressed disappointment over their defeat at the 2023 CAF African Cup of Nations final. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to Lagos Traffic Radio at lagostate.gov.ng. And that ends the news broadcast compiled by Aderayo Ijewolaya. I'm Dele Agadumo. Good morning. Thank you for listening.